Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
Hey guys, Andrew here, and you are watching Puck Time right here on Wager Talk TV. I'm happy to announce Carmine is back with me today. It's going to be just the two of us here as Prez is still in Vegas. So this is his usual Wednesday spot, of course, but just the two of us here. Look forward to catching up with Carmine. Also a big night for both of us at wagertalk.com. We both have 5% plays going on this Wednesday slate. So that should be fun for both of us. And just want to say yesterday, a pretty good show with Buster and I able to find some winners for you guys. I was able to cash a second straight best bet on the show. We'll try and do it again. Unfortunately, that play was not my client play. I wish it was. I had the Dallas Stars over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And well, I told Carm before the show I was going to bring up being on the wrong side of history. Well, I was on the wrong side of history of a goaltender's goals saved above average, Carm, as Matt Murray broke the record in one game last night. Unbelievable, really, for the fact that Dallas Stars, they get shut out last night, and yet the expected goals numbers were supposed to be 6 goals for the Dallas Stars. So if we do have the chart, let's bring it up because it's just, I got to put myself through pain just one more time here. Taking a look at the last couple of times here. So with 5.979 goals save above expected, Matt Murray's performance versus Dallas is the best for a goalie in a shutout since modern stats started. Matt Murray, Alexander Georgiev twice, Yaroslav Halak, and Corey Crawford in 2019. So, Carm, that one stung because I had the Dallas Stars in the money line. I thought it was a really, really sharp pick. The hungrier team, and they're playing at home. And the funny thing is, I'll be completely honest with you, I actually didn't catch any of the game. I slept through the game. I was up super late the night before, and I fell asleep on the couch watching this game. And I woke up to the horrible result, and then I see, of course, these numbers come out. But I just wanted to complain. I hate to ruin your return with me complaining, Carm, but the fact of the matter is Matt Murray is definitely a good goaltender right now for the Maple Leafs, and that goes to show that the analytical numbers, you don't want to always look at it, but I'm not going to lie to you. It made me feel a little bit better when I saw that versus just the result, but still a loser is a loser there for me. So 0-1 night for me with the clients, but Carm, you've been doing very well across all sports. You've been making me some money in the World Cup, that's for sure. How was your trip to Vegas?
The trip was absolutely awesome. We went to see Andrea Bocelli on Saturday. I had center floors, like 16 rows from the front of the stage. Absolutely phenomenal. I had a VIP party before it, so I overspent a little bit, but it was something that was on my bucket list, and I got to cross that off. You know, it's kind of like the Bills winning the Super Bowl is on my bucket list, but after 4 straight losses, and the first two, I was at the first 2 Super Bowls that they lost against the wide right, Scott Norwood, and then the Washington, at the time, Redskins, now Commanders, who laid an absolute beating on the Bills. I was at those 2 Super Bowls. I did not go to the 2 they lost to the Cowboys because I'm just not a glutton for punishment. You'd think so because I'm a Sabres fan. But with that said, Andrew, it was a fantastic trip. Saw Prez on one of the nights. The first night we got there, we had dinner at Frank Sinatra's restaurant, Sinatra's, in the Encore, and then watched some football on Sunday, the early games with Marco, Brian, and Ralph. Such a great crew sit down and have some drinks with and watch the football games. The Eagles destroying my Titans bet. Our producer is buzzing in my ear about that one. And then Sunday night, met up with Marco and his beautiful wife and went to Joe's seafood place inside Caesars. And Marco sniped the bill. I always snipe the bill, Andrew. It's the way I am. I love to pay for my friends. Marco sniped the bill. I should have known something was wrong when he excused himself to go to the bathroom. Marco never leaves a table that has food on it. And yet he did in that case and sniped the bill. So thank you to Marco. He's on Wager Talk today as one of the hosts, and I'll be on that show as well too, talking about the World Cup. But I'm looking forward to NHL as well tonight. Sorry about that play. Now, on yesterday's show, I watched yesterday's show. You guys talked about why would Carmine put the Montreal Canadiens in there? Buster thought I did that as one parting shot. I put it there as a bogey. I left you guys a little breadcrumb that you guys did not take, Andrew. Do you know what that breadcrumb was? What do I always say? When a team is on when a team has won 7 or 8 games in a row and they lose a game, you bet against them the next time out. Seattle, 7 wins in a row. They drop a game. The Montreal Canadiens come to town after having blown a 4-0 lead. Big plus money dog. And they got there, Andrew.
Hey, what did I say what did I say on the show? I said that the game is completely different if Montreal wins the night before versus if they loses. Yeah. I said that. I said if Vancouver, loses that game 4-0 and Montreal just coasts, I think that game is completely different. Montreal seemed focused yesterday, but you're right. And the NHL is a league of streaks, and you've called that. We've talked about these streaks together, and man, the St. Louis Blues, Carm, are one of the biggest streak teams right now. It is crazy. I mean, are they about to go back on another winning streak? We'll find out. But it is crazy right now in the NHL. You don't really want to be involved with teams that are win one, lose one, win one, lose one. You're better off betting on these streaks. And same thing with overs, same thing with unders. I talked about it again. With the New York Islanders, a first period under team. There's teams that are first period over teams, Carm. This Islanders team continues to hit their first period under. So, I don't really have a problem with streak betting. It's good sometimes.
No, you can still, it's not your main handicapping method, but you have to keep an eye on it because I've seen the trend over the years, and it sits there. And to your point of that Islanders game, in the chat, when I was talking with some of the guys in the chat during the live show yesterday with you and Buster, and I said, I thought the Islanders team total of over 3.5 plus 120 or plus 125 was a good play. Our system, I couldn't get it in on our system on Wager Talk. Or that would have been the play instead of taking the Islanders. Then the Islanders get pummeled, but still find 4 goals against a Blues team that's been allowing goals by the bucketful, it seems. So if anyone in the chat played the Islanders team total plus 3.5, God bless you. You guys got a winner at plus money. Unfortunately, I was saddled with a loss on the Islanders because somehow St. Louis found 7 goals on Sorokin in New York, which doesn't happen very often.
That does not happen very often, like you said, especially when they're playing in New York. Today's games we're jumping into, we've got the Wild Flames, Bruins, Avalanche, little revenge game there from last week. We have the Rangers, Vegas Golden Knights, and the late game with the Vancouver Canucks and San Jose Sharks. Let's get right into it here, Carm. With the first game of the night, we're going to break down Minnesota visiting the Calgary Flames in Alberta. Calgary minus 150. The Wild plus 130 underdogs here. The total is 6, shaded towards the over. And take a look at this Calgary team. Look, a team that I like to have my money on, a team I've been trying to bet on. They're off a couple wins, but Minnesota, they have certainly strung it together. And Carm, I'll tell you, one thing that I really, we talk about handicapping strategies together here on the show and just, on phone calls. One thing that I've decided this year and most recently, I used to talk a lot on this show about strength of schedule, who a team has beat, right? Who a team has defeated, if it's a good team or a bad team. I'm in the belief now, if a team is on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, I'm not going to be as picky as I used to be as far as who the teams are that they beat. I used to be like that. I used to care a lot about that stuff. But you know what? If a team is stringing together wins, they're stringing together wins. And that's the Minnesota Wild right now. They're stringing together wins. And not all against amazing teams, but against some good teams like Dallas, and you can throw Edmonton in there. Of course, there's Anaheim and Arizona in that mix. But you know what? They're still winning. As far as the Calgary Flames, it's kind of interesting because their defense has been much better lately, but their offense is still not really rolling. I think this game has overwritten all over it. It's actually rare to see sixes. We're seeing lots of 6.5s right now in the NHL. I think this game goes over. I think we see goals from both teams. I think Minnesota continues to score, but I think Calgary can definitely get a few past Minnesota. So I'm going to go over 6 in this one, Carm. What about you?
Yeah, it's an interesting game because Minnesota is, as you said, they're playing well. I mean, you look at it and you can make a point of, Arizona was in there, Anaheim was in there as far as two of those 4 wins. This has been a good homestand for the Calgary Flames, and I think the Calgary Flames are a good team. They're starting to come around. Markstrom's playing better, and when he's not in there, even Vladar is playing better. You look at this 4-game road trip. This 4-game homestand, which ends tonight before they hit the road, and they've won 3 of 4. And the game that they lost, as you know, was the game against Montreal, where Calgary outshot them 46-19. But the Canadians played quite possibly the perfect road game, where even though they absorbed and took a lot of shots on goal in that game, it was such a they kept the play to the outside, they kept the shots to the outside. I don't think there was a ton of high danger chances without looking at the numbers on the natural stat trick. But this is a Calgary team that's starting to put it together. And if you look at their schedule, their next 10 games, a very favorable schedule. That I think the toughest team they have is probably a visit to Toronto to play against the Maple Leafs. They've got a couple of games against the Sharks. They've got Anaheim. I think it's an easy schedule coming up for this Calgary team that they can put together a nice long winning streak. And this is why I want to take him here. I think having won a couple of games in a row against the Capitals and then Arizona, who's on the tail end of this brutal 14-game road trip that ends tonight in Edmonton, that this Calgary team, this time next week, we could be talking about this team being on a 6 or 7 game win streak. So I'm going to take the Flames tonight. I'm going to forego the total on this one and take the Flames at -150.
All right, looking towards the Calgary Flames, and if I'm not mistaken, Carm, they've also they had a big road trip at one point, didn't they? Like, weren't the Flames on the road for a long time? It felt like they were anyway. So yeah. It's nice. It feels like they've been at home for a decent amount of time now, which is certainly good for a team like them.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's one of the interesting things. We've seen some teams over the last couple of years with some long road trips, are 7 games or longer. We saw the New York Islanders, of course, because of their arena, the UBS arena. I used to call it USB or whatever, but the UBS arena, and where they started their season 13 games on the road, and they never really recovered. You look at Arizona, and they're on tonight is, like I said, their last game of a 14-game road trip where they've lost 9 of the last 10, although being competitive. But you just want to get home, and I think sometimes that last game is, you might even mail it in, those 2 points. But we'll talk about that one probably later on. But this is a Calgary team, Andrew. Like I said, when you look at their schedule after tonight against Minnesota, they play in Columbus, in Toronto, in Montreal, and then home against Vancouver, home against St. Louis, and then back-to-back against the Sharks in San Jose before playing the Kings and then Anaheim. That is a very favorable schedule. I am telling you right now, that is a favorable schedule for this team. And I'm not saying they're going to win all of them, but I look at those 10 games that they have, and I say they probably go 8-2. And if you can't make money going 8-2 with that stretch of games, this is not including tonight's, of course, then you're in the wrong business as far as sports betting goes.
Yeah, I mean, I love when you forecast games like that. As you know, I try and do it myself on Mondays there with the buy and sell segment, and it's definitely good to look ahead at some of these spots. So Carm looking towards the Flames, not just for tonight, but hopefully in the near future as well. I like goals, looking towards the over 6. Let's keep things going with the Boston Bruins, Colorado Avalanche here. This number continues to move up, it seems like here, Carm, as far as the Boston Bruins are concerned. They're big favorites in this one, and I think it's rightfully so. You take a look at the odds for them in this one. It was like 170, 175. It just continued to grow. And honestly, look at this Boston Bruins team. The run that they're on right now, I mean, their record 23-1, Colorado 13-9-1. But I'll tell you what, I'll go to you first for your thoughts. But I just really quick wanted to mention, for anybody wondering exactly what's going on here with the price, as you see Boston 180 and Colorado plus 150. Right now for the Colorado Avalanche, they've got Landeskog out, McDermott out, Nathan McKinnon out, Val Nichushkin out, Evan Rodriguez out, Arturi Lehkonen out, Shane Bowers out, Bowen Byram out, and Alex Newhook listed as questionable. I would say this is like an NBA team, but these guys are actually hurt. Unlike an NBA team where they're just got a little hangnail and they're out for a couple weeks. This is a Colorado Avalanche team that is really banged up right now, and I worry a little bit about the depth of scoring for them. So, Carm, I want to hear your thoughts. Boston's playing really well right now in Colorado. They've got the injury bug as we speak.
Yeah, they definitely have the injury bug as we speak, and that's the only reason the number is where it is right now. You can look at a couple angles to this one, and to maybe even taking the Bruins team total, because if you think Colorado's going to lose, you look at their last 3 losses, and they've been, when they lose, they sort of lose in a big way. They've been outscored 15-4 in those 3 losses, which include, obviously a loss to the Flyers as well, too, 5-3 in that one. This is of the games that we're going to be discussing now, the next 3 games. We're talking about teams also, another angle I think is always interesting, coming back off an East Coast trip. And you've got Colorado coming home off a 4-game East Coast trip and now playing at home with their 2 best players not in the lineup against a Bruins team as well, too, that, as you said, are playing some lights out hockey and coming off a loss to the Vegas Golden Knights, in which they came back from down 3 to send that game into overtime. You can never discount this Boston Bruins team because they're just playing so well right now. And as far as, talking earlier about a team who loses a game off a win streak, they had only won 3 in a row prior to losing that game against the Vegas Golden Knights, but they've been pretty flawless this season. I think it's just it's a good spot for this Bruins team. They beat Colorado 5-1. A couple games back. So, I get it. I still don't want to lay the price, Andrew. It's just too high. I would probably look at the Bruins team total. Over 3.5 goals is minus 110. That might not be a bad way to go, because this one could soar over the total. The total is at 6 here. But if you like the Bruins, they're going to get their goals tonight in this game. So you can take Bruins probably in regulation if you're leaning to the Bruins. But this line, I think, is just going to continue to get higher as more people realize that McKinnon is out, Landeskog is out. Of course, Landeskog was out, but with McKinnon being out, that their top line is pretty much out as far as tonight's game goes. So I'm going to lean on the team total here, and it might actually make it on my card as one of my client plays as well, too. So Bruins team total over 3.5 minus 110 for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this Avalanche team right now, where it's not just 1 or 2 players. I mean, Landeskog, him being out, just from a leadership standpoint, I feel like he's one of the better captains in the league. And then Arturi Lehkonen, a player that I cheered on for a while and years in Montreal, he brings an element that you don't find on the stat sheet, right, Carm? He doesn't get assists or goals always, but what he brings to the team, third line guy that is super fast, always makes a difference. And then Val Nichushkin, they're pretty much missing a guy from all over the ice. I mean, a guy that does this, a guy that does this job, a guy that does that. It's like an NFL team, missing a lineman, a running back, a corner, a defensive guy. They're missing everything right now. It's not just one guy.
Yeah.
However, I have a little bit of different thoughts as far as the game goes. However, you and I can both cash our picks, which is still nice. I like the under in this game. I've been betting a lot of totals recently, and you take a look at this game, and the only thing that really stands out to me is the last time they played, Boston putting up 5 and just walking all over Colorado. And now you look at all the injuries. I always notice that it doesn't happen forever, for the, a week or two into the injuries, but usually right when a bunch of injuries start to pile up, you see a team play better defensively, and they have to change their tactics. They have to change the way that they play. A coach will change things. You cannot play the same style of hockey that you were playing with Nathan McKinnon in the lineup as you're going to without him. When a team loses their best players or several players, the tactics and how you play a game change. And I think Boston, as well for them, they're off a game where they aren't going to be too happy defensively either. Hey, I mean, you're right. I mean, they're never out of games. They forced it back. They went to a shootout. That was an incredible game against the Golden Knights. But they won't be happy defensively either recently coming into this game. So as much as we have two teams with talent, I'm going to go under 6. So I will happily take a 4-1 Boston, so Carmine and I can both cash our tickets, and we'll both end up happy in this one. But I'm hoping for an under in this game between the Bruins and the Avalanche. Next game up, the Rangers and Vegas Golden Knights here. Maybe the Rangers need to get out of town to get on a little bit of a streak here. Get on the road, because they definitely have underachieved so far this year, Carm. They're plus 130. Vegas, they're minus 150. Total, of course, at 6 in this game. What are your thoughts here as Vegas returns home?
My producer is just buzzing in my ear saying, bet the Rangers, bet the Rangers, bet the Rangers. And, he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and they are 11-1. So I think I got to listen to my producer. But I also like the Rangers because the Vegas Golden Knights, even though they won 3 of 4 games on that road trip, Andrew, return home, first game off a 4-game East Coast trip. There's a theme happening here with these games, and this is one of them. A big win in Boston, but returning home, and the Rangers. That was a much needed win for the Rangers against the St. Louis Blues. This was a team that they're quickly falling down the standings. They need to be better. I don't know what is happening with the Rangers. They're in trouble. That loss against the Chicago Blackhawks was a bad one. A loss to the Senators and the game before that. I'm not sure what is going on with this New York Rangers team, but sometimes hitting the road is a good thing, and that's what they're doing here, hitting the road to play a few games, and they kick it off against the Vegas Golden Knights. I think you're getting plus money with the Rangers, and if it's Shesterkin in goal and you're catching again the Golden Knights off that road trip, I like the plus money here. I am going to continue to the banana in the tailpipe, we call it sometimes, with this New York Rangers team, but I am going to take the Rangers here. You're getting plus money on them, and I'm gonna fade that angle that I like sometimes with a West Coast team coming back from an East Coast trip. And this is the 4th game in 6 nights for the Golden Knights, I believe. Give me the New York Rangers, Andrew. Sorry. The New York Rangers. I'm still on Western time, apparently, myself. But give me the Rangers here at plus money with Shesterkin in goal. If, for some reason, you see that Shesterkin is not in goal, I'm not taking this game. But it's not on my card right now.
I think that there's definitely a live dog in this game. I think that this is definitely a spot where people are going to start sleeping, just falling asleep on the New York Rangers, and this could be the opportunity for us to start making some money on them. The last game they played, I think that, there's times to me where I'm impressed by just a win, and there's times to me where I'm impressed how a team won. And let's face it, the Rangers needed a game where they scored a bunch of goals. I'm just going to say it like that. They needed a game where they proved, hey, we have an offense. And they scored 6 goals against the Blues, although they're a team that's given up goals. I think this is a good spot for the Rangers at plus money to get the job done for us. So Carmine and I both looking towards the underdog. Let's hope the dog is barking in Sin City tonight with the New York Rangers. And sometimes it is a good thing to get on the road, get away from your home crowd for a bit, come back on a little bit win streak. And that's what the Rangers hope to do. Guys, let's wrap the show up with one more game and then best bets at the end. Vancouver, San Jose, going head-to-head here. In San Jose, the Sharks are plus 100. Vancouver minus 120. Total at 6.5 in this one. Of course, Vancouver has not been a good defensive team this year, Carm, but they have actually been okay offensively. And what a wild game that was against the Montreal Canadiens. As you told me a few times, Buster and I probably took a little bit too long talking about it, so I won't talk about that too much. But what I will say is that I was impressed with their will. The fact that they didn't give up the entire time. And they really closed things out. And San Jose, take a look at this team. Well, they were off a tough East Coast road trip. All the games they played were actually pretty back and forth, pretty competitive, besides the one actually against my Montreal Canadiens. But it is that first game back off a road trip, although they are a little bit rested. I think we could see some goals in this game, Carm. Over 6.5 to me seems like a play that I'm comfortable with. And let's be honest here. In games that belong both these teams, it's not much of a rare sight to see goals here. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Sharks allowed 14 goals in those last 3 losses on that road trip after starting it with a win in Montreal. And now they're back home again, a West Coast team returning home off a 4-game East Coast trip. So I sound like a broken record, but you can actually look at it and say, okay, well, let's put this theory to the test. You've got the Avalanche returning home off of 4. You got the Vegas Golden Knights returning off of 4 on the East Coast. You've got the Sharks returning off of 4. Let me just take the road team in all 3 games in a parlay. And what are you going to get? You're going to get plus 562, roughly around there on my calculation. But you're going to get almost 6-1 on your money taking the 3 road teams in this one. And I like the Canucks in this one. So that's likely what I'll do here. I'm going to take the Canucks to win this game. And then I'm going to throw some pizza money on the 3 road teams that we mentioned, the Boston Bruins, the New York Rangers, and the Vancouver Canucks, and get 6-1 on my money, and hopefully have even more pizza for the rest of the week. I didn't have any while I was in Vegas, but I think the Canucks are the right play here.
I'm not even joking, Carmen. Whenever you say that, I swear to God, whenever you say that, I always crave pizza. I think the last 2 times you've said that on the show, I've gone on and gotten a slice of pizza after the show is over, but not today. I swear, I told myself I was going to have something healthy, have something pretty good for lunch. Whenever you mention pizza money, I always want to just go spend money on pizza. So maybe if I cash some bets tonight and have a good night, then we'll order a pizza tomorrow or something. But you always, whenever I hear you talk about pizza, I'm very easily convinced, and I'm very impressionable. So, but 6-1, man, I hope you cash that.
Yeah, I've got to reach out to some of the pizza companies out there. We should have like a pizza play of the day or something. You know what I mean? Where if the play hits, everyone in our chat gets a free slice of pizza with some QR code that the company provides us with or something, right? So, like let's say if this parlay hits, we have a QR code, we'll put it up on the screen. You take a snapshot of it and you go into your local Domino's or whatever, and and you get a free slice of pizza. The same way as, some of these arenas have like score 100 points and everyone gets free tacos or whatever. We've got to do the exact same thing. Come on, we have to have, this show brought to you by Domino's, whatever, right?
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. So this one, Carm, I think that there's a lot of hidden angles tonight in the NHL. You talked about a lot. I think there's a lot of different situations in the NHL between a lot of these games. You mentioned it could be a good night for road teams. Of course, there's the Grand Salami where you bet unders or overs. You can also bet away teams versus home teams. So it could be a decent night to look towards the road teams. But what was that 6-1 parlay you said? Can you clarify? What was the 6-1?
Yeah, it is the 3 road teams: Boston Bruins in Colorado, the New York Rangers in Vegas, and the Vancouver Canucks in San Jose. All 3 of Colorado, Vegas, and San Jose are returning off of 4-game East Coast road trips. So I usually like to fade that team on their first home. Colorado one, obviously, with McInnis now being out, the Bruins are taking a lot of action. The Canucks obviously are favorites in that one. Vegas is the only favorite that we're looking to fade. We're getting the Rangers at plus money here, but my producer has assured me that the Rangers are the play tonight.
A huge shout out to everybody watching right now live on YouTube. Guys, just a reminder, we do have a Wager Talk TV app now available on Android and iOS, also on Roku. And I think I've heard coming to more places and devices soon enough, as our Detroit team is working harder than ever to get this Wager Talk app everywhere you can download apps. So, guys, check it out. What's great about the app, I find, is that it's good for when you're on the go, podcasts, whether if you're in your car, stuff like that. I know pretty much every single day I listen to Wager Talk Today, which Carm will be on the Wager Talk TV app. While I walk my dog after puck time. Pretty much I get some lunch, I go walk my dog, go to the Wager Talk TV app, and I listen to Wager Talk Today. And you guys know it's always entertaining with Prez and Teddy. Unfortunately, won't have Prez there today, but we'll have a good crew, I've heard. And I think, Carm, you said Marco's filling in?
Yeah, Marco is in Teddy's seat, and Steve Merrill is in the Prez's seat. Okay. And guys, let me tell you, because we have a few minutes here, my phone was blowing up in Vegas with the bad beats that the Prez is taking. He is losing so many. He's losing so many. He's getting knocked out of tournaments with some of the worst beats you've ever experienced. And I had to mute his messages just not to see them, because as Andrew, as you know, and Dan know in our chat group, I say it's supposed to be a safe place. I want just positivity when we're talking about bets and stuff. But man, the guy is just the Prez is taking it on the chin, for lack of a better phrase or word. But I think he'll be back in his regular seat. I think he leaves on Thursday. He'll probably be back in his regular seat on Wager Talk today on Friday, and Teddy has the day off, so Marco's filling in. Should be a very enjoyable show, and I will have two World Cup quarterfinal games I'm going to discuss on that show coming up at the top of the hour. So please tune in.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, great. I always do watch, and I'll definitely check it out when you're on the show this afternoon, Carm. Look, I actually like when Prez sends those stories and stuff. My brother, we're pretty close, Carm, but he actually doesn't really like sports very much. So, as you know, that's one of the main things I talk about. So, he likes poker. That's his thing. So, whenever Prez sends those messages to you and I, a lot of times I'll send it over to my brother, and he can, talk about the play that Prez was talking about or the bad beat and stuff. And I'll tell you, man, one of the things I'd love to do for my brother is to, bring him to Vegas with us sometime when we're all there, and put him in some tournaments, put him in some of the stuff that you guys do or Prez does. And, he loves these online games, but he's never played in a place like Vegas before. So I like the stories, and hopefully I can bring him there sometime and have some fun. I'll be in the sports book and he can play poker because everybody has their own thing, and that's his thing.
Yeah, it's listen, I used to play a lot of poker and travel and play a lot of poker. I don't enjoy it as much now. Maybe it was the pandemic that stopped the World Series of Poker from happening for 2 or 3 years, and I just don't enjoy it as much as well too. And then this is how I look at it, Andrew. I'd rather not sit at a table for 8 hours in a tournament trying to grind out a chip stack and make it into the money. I'd rather be in a sports book, put a couple K on a game, and I know within 90 minutes if I've won or not, and then move on to the next game. So that's the way I look at it now. So you evolve and change over time.
And that's why I love UFC. Talk about a short attention span for people that are in the younger generation. We got a new event to bet on like every 20 minutes. It's awesome. I mean, it's not just 90 minutes. It's like, oh, there's a knockout. Okay, 20 more minutes. There's a new game to bet on. That's why the UFC is pretty awesome. Let's jump into best bets here, Carm. We both have 5% plays going tonight. You have a promo code NHL10 for $10 off your 5% play. I believe you've been on a pretty good run with your NHL. Let's hear about it, man.
Yeah, number one, last 30 days at Wager Talk with NHL plays a very good run. We're going to look to keep it going tonight. You can get the 5% play. You can get $10 off of it with the code NHL10. I'll get you $10 off. And as far as my free play, Andrew, I'm going to go to the Edmonton Oilers game. Listen, it's been a long road trip for this Arizona team. They finish off the Alberta double tonight in Edmonton. They lost 3-2 to the Calgary Flames. And now they play against an Edmonton team that's smarting. They've won 4 of the last 5 before losing 3-2 to the Capitals. And they allowed 50 shots on goal in that game. Sort of smarting. Now they get Arizona, who might just be mailing it in tonight. We'll see. While Arizona has competed over the last 10 games, they've lost 9 of the last 10. They've been in those games. I just think end of a 14-game road trip, I think they mail in the 2 points tonight against an Oilers team that, again are smarting. I'm going to lay the goal and a half here with the Oilers and minimal juice, of course, -1.5, -120, and look for the Oilers to bounce back off that 3-2 loss to the Capitals and put up a big number tonight.
I think it's time for the Arizona Coyotes to get beat down. It's time for someone to absolutely destroy the Oilers, and I think that happens tonight, Carm. I love that pick. That road trip's been so long for them, and hey, they've been staying in games, but they haven't been blown out recently. And I think today is the day they get blown out. Guys, I have a 5% play as well available at wagertalk.com. You can grab that. I'm on a short-term 4-1, 5% NHL run, longer-term 15-6. And it's been a really, really good long-term run with these 5% NHL plays. Very selective with those. Tonight's play is a side. A lot of times you guys ask me, do I have a total? Do I have a side for the big play? It is a side play for tonight. Use the promo Andrew10 to take $10 off my 5% play. And guys, I already talked about this play during the show, so I won't take too long. I'm on the under in Colorado and Boston tonight, under 6. We cashed an under yesterday with the Hawks and Devils. We'll try and do it again here tonight. Both teams, I think it's going to be a big emphasis towards the defensive end of things. Colorado, their offense is very injured. They're going to try and be very sharp defensively here. And we see Colorado back at home here. We'll see if we can get a good, tight defensive game between two talented squads with Boston and Colorado under 6. Carmine looking towards Edmonton -1.5 goals at -120. And that will do it for Puck Time for today, Wednesday edition. Great to have Carm back with me here on the show. As always, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. And best of luck, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed, and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.